Good morning. My name is Randy Stott, and I'm the managing editor of Gear Technology. Today I'm here with Tom Ware, who is product manager for gear cutting tools at Star SU. And today we're going to be talking about carbide hobbing with Altensa.
Okay.
And welcome, Tom.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Altensa is a new coating from Balzers, and you offer it for cutting tools?
Yes.
How is the Altensa coating different from previous generations of cutting tools?
Well, it's the next step in the Alcrona family of coatings. It's an aluminum chromium nitride based coating.
Mm-hmm.
Then at the end of their coating cycle, there's a top layer added to the Alcrona base, which gives it a higher performance rating.
Okay. Is it designed specifically for gear manufacturing?
I think that was their intent when they first put the coating together, but as most coatings go, it gets expanded through other cutting tools as well. But their intent originally, I think, was to focus on gear cutting.
What is it about this coating that makes it well suited for gear manufacturing?
Well, with the movement toward more and more dry cutting, it has a very much higher resistance to heat. So it works well in that dry application. Also, with it being the coating is such that it can be stripped after each use, so that you keep it a single layer of coating on the base material.
So you strip the top layer, but there's still coating on the...
No, you strip down to the base material, so that basically what you're doing is it allows you to supply then a like new tool with every use. Because, you know, as we've developed our processes, customers expect that coating, that tool, to perform exactly the same every time they put it on the machine. Back when we first started coatings in the 80s, there was that expectation of a loss of tool life with a recoated tool.
But today they expect it to be just like new.
They expect to be able to put it in that machine and get their 10,000 pieces or whatever.
What's the cost difference between the Altensa coating and the previous generation?
It varies a little bit, but it's in the neighborhood of about 20-25% more for the coating. But when you compare that with the base cost of the tool, it's not a huge percentage of the total cost.
So will gear manufacturers use this to increase tool life or increase cutting speed, or what's the magic formula? What is this going to do for them?
I guess the simple answer is to say one-word answer would be both. Initially, the intention was that the coating was to allow the customer to run at a higher speed, and therefore shorten his cycle time, and justify the cost of the coating just based on machine time, and then be able to produce faster. We're finding it's more of a mix of the two, where we're getting higher feeds and higher speeds primarily to shorten cycle time, and also longer tool life as well.
Okay. Can you give me any kind of numbers or quantify how much people can expect to get?
Well, what we're finding is kind of, I guess, is a rough figure would be a 10 to 15% increase in speed, which relates directly then to a 10 to 15% reduction in cycle time. In some cases, we're seeing as much as 30 and 40% increase in tool life.
Okay.
So it varies somewhat. We have some customers who strictly used it to increase tool life, and more than justified the cost increase.
Can you give me some examples of the types of customers who've made best use of this?
It's very varied. We've had, obviously, the primary focus has been on automotive, because that's where everybody seems to want to go the fastest, and where we see the most dry applications right now in the marketplace. But we've seen it used in other places as well. We have a customer that's actually shaping with it and was shaping a pre-hardened material. So
Okay.
they were able to use this coating and increase their stroke rate and their tool life as well. So it has, I don't think it has as broad of application as the Alcrona coating, but it still is still got a pretty broad background or base of use.
Does the Altensa require a different tool substrate? Can it be used with high-speed steel and carbide?
Yes.
So,
Yeah. It works basically the same with the high-speed steel or in some cases we've actually been able to. You still have to have a high-grade high-speed steel. We're not going to. It's not going to be as effective on a PM4 as it is, say, an S390 or an ASP 2052 material. And it also works well with the different grades of carbide.
okay.
And again, with carbide, it can be decoded, and that's a big plus because a lot of the coating, the old titanium aluminum coatings, could not be decoded without significant damage to the substrate. I won't say there isn't any damage to the substrate because after many cycles, we do find there is some damage to the.
Is there a rule of
grade.
thumb for how many times you can?
Typically, we're finding the 5 to 6 cycles recoat,
Okay.
resharpen cycle is about the magic number where we need to go back in and actually just retouch the surface.
Some of the benefits of the Altensa coating are improved hot hardness,
Yes,
increased abrasive wear resistance,
yes.
lower thermal conductivity, and optimized oxidation resistance. Can you explain the benefits of all those things?
Well, I guess the bottom line to all those is those are all characteristics that lead to tool wear, and so it helps you be able to run at the faster speed. The wear characteristics, again, it's more related to the temperature, the cutting temperature that causes the wear than the load. I don't know that we've seen any real improvement in the chip load capacity of this coating, but it does still the advantage of the RPM because it is a 1-to-1 percentage improvement in cycle time.
You mentioned hobbing, obviously, and you mentioned shaping.
Yes.
Are there any other applications where this coating is good for?
We are using it basically across all the gear cutting lines, whether it's hobbing, shaping, and of course cutting, power skiving tools as well.
What else do you think that gear manufacturers should know about this coating?
Well, in high speed dry cutting, it is definitely an economical approach to the cutting. You aren't necessarily going to get the advertised 30% increase in speed, but you can, through a combination of cycle time reduction and tool performance in terms of pieces per use, more than cover the cost of the coating.
Very good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.